This is what happens when a legend is left to die. A 1969 Dodge Charger, forgotten in a collapsing barn, literally rotting away. For decades, it was just a ghost. Most people would say it's junk, that the rust has won and the story's over. But we think it deserves a second chance. We believe that underneath all this decay, the soul of this machine is still in there, just waiting. Because this isn't just a car. It's a survivor. And we're going to bring it back to life. Our story starts with a phrase you hear all the time, a car in a barn. But this time, it was real. Tucked away for nearly 30 years, this 1969 Dodge Charger was a local myth nobody had actually seen in decades. The owner parked it, meaning to get back to it, but life just got in the way. When we finally saw it, man, it was both heartbreaking and amazing. That classic Coke bottle shape was still there, the look that basically defined the muscle car era. But time was not kind. The vinyl top trapped moisture and created a cancer of rust all over the roof. The floor pans were total Swiss cheese, and the trunk looked like it had been sitting at the bottom of a lake. But it was a real '69 Charger. Not a clone. A car that owned the streets back in its day. The 1969 model was famous for its menacing split grille and those long, awesome taillights that you can spot from a mile away. This one was a special edition, or SE, with a 318 cubic inch V8. It's not the legendary 426 Hemi, but it was the honest, reliable engine for a car that was meant to be driven. Looking at the VIN, we knew what it was. Looking at the rust, we knew how impossible this was going to be. Any sane person would have walked away. The cost in parts and sheer man-hours would be way more than the car would ever be worth. But some cars aren't about making sense on a spreadsheet. They're about saving history. So staring at this rusted-out shell, we asked the only question that mattered: can it actually be saved? Getting the Charger back to the shop was a win. Taking it apart was a lesson in pain. Every single bolt fought us, telling a story of complete neglect. Rusted metal snapped, panels just crumbled in our hands, and with every piece we took off, we saw how bad the damage really was. Second-gen Chargers are famous for rust, and this car was the poster child. The first real look was brutal. The trunk pan, gone. The floor pans, from front to back, were more holes than metal. And then we found it, Bondo. Tons of it. Someone, a long time ago, had just caked it into the quarter panels to hide dents and rust. That's a classic mistake that just traps moisture and makes the problem 100 times worse. The teardown is where the excitement dies and reality hits you like a truck. The parts list just got longer and longer. It wasn't just the metal we could see, it was the hidden stuff. The frame rails, the door jambs, the car's entire skeleton was corroded. This is the point of no return. The car isn't a car anymore. It's 1,000 pieces, a giant puzzle where half the pieces are broken. This is where you start to have doubts. You see why so many projects just end up in boxes, sold for parts. We had a choice: cut our losses, or commit to this, no matter what. We chose to fight. To save this car, we first had to destroy it. We mounted it on a rotisserie so we could get to every single inch of it. Then, the real work began. The shop filled with the scream of angle grinders and the hiss of the plasma cutter. It was a literal shower of sparks. One by one, we surgically cut out every rotten panel. The entire floor, the trunk, the lower quarters, all of it gone, leaving this hollowed-out skeleton of a Charger. What was left was the good, solid metal that would be the foundation for its new life. This is where true craftsmanship comes in. We sourced the best replacement panels we could find, ones that actually fit right. Then, we started the slow, painful process of putting it all back together. New frame rail sections were welded in, followed by a complete, one-piece floor pan. Every new piece was fitted, clamped, and welded, stitch by stitch. Every weld is like a stitch healing a wound. The new trunk pan went in, then the extensions and rear valance. We even had to custom fabricate patches for weird spots where you can't buy a panel. This part is a marathon, not a sprint. It's hundreds of hours of grinding and welding that you see in a few seconds of a time-lapse. But it's the most important work. We were literally rebuilding the car's bones. As that last weld cooled, it wasn't just a collection of parts anymore. It was a charger again. Solid, strong, and ready for its soul. This journey from a total wreck to a masterpiece is a gigantic project, and we're just getting to the best part. If you're loving this transformation and want to see us bring more classics back from the dead, please, take a second and hit that subscribe button. It seriously helps the channel, keeps the workshop lights on, and lets us save the next forgotten car. Thanks for being here. Now, let's give this charger its voice back. Every car restoration has two heartbeats. The first is when the engine roars to life. The second is the moment it gets color. Our 318 V8 was the car's original engine, so we decided to rebuild it instead of just dropping in some random motor. The block went out for machining, while we cleaned and sourced every single part, from pistons to the camshaft. Building an engine is all about precision. We're talking clearances measured in thousandths of an inch and torquing bolts to exact specs. It's a slow, careful process that ends in pure magic. With the fresh engine and transmission back in the subframe, it was time. Hoses on, fluids in, battery hooked up. The whole shop went silent. You turn the key, you listen. The starter turns, it coughs. Sputters. We check the timing, tweak the carb, and try again. And then it happens. A massive roar erupts from the open headers, a blast so loud it shakes the whole shop. It's alive. The engine settles into that perfect, rumbling idle, the sound of pure American muscle. That sound makes all the rust, busted knuckles, and late nights completely worth it. With the heart back, it was time to give the body its skin. The bare metal shell went through endless hours of bodywork. Skim coats of filler to smooth the seams, followed by hours. And hours of block sanding, priming, and more sanding. The goal is a surface that's perfectly straight, a canvas ready for the final color. We decided to go back to a factory color, an amazing B5 blue. In the paint booth, the car looked like a ghost in its gray primer. Then, the moment of truth. The first mist of blue hits the metal, and the change is instant. With every pass of the spray gun, the boring shell disappears and is replaced by this deep, insane color. We buried it in multiple coats of clear until it looked like you could dive right into the finish. When it rolled out of that booth, it wasn't a project anymore. It was a jewel. Final assembly is just a rush of pure excitement. All those boxes we carefully labeled are opened up, and the car finally comes together. The polished stainless trim, the re-chromed bumpers that shine like mirrors, that brand new grille. Every piece that goes on makes it feel more real. Inside, a whole new world takes shape. We laid sound deadener on the new floors, then fresh black carpet. The restored dashboard went in, its gauges rebuilt and gleaming. As an SE, this Charger originally had leather seats and cool woodgrain accents, so we put all of that back to honor its history. Installing the interior is when the car starts to feel less like an object and more like a place you want to be. Then, the final reveal. We pushed it out into the sun for the first time as a complete car. The B5 blue paint just exploded with color, the chrome sparkled, and the stance was perfect. The journey was complete. Where there was once a crumbling, forgotten wreck, there now sits a jaw-dropping 1969 Dodge Charger. It's not just restored, it's resurrected. Looking at the before and after pictures side by side is just unbelievable. From a forgotten relic to a priceless gem. It's proof of what vision and thousands of hours of work can do. But you don't build a car like this to have it sit still. The real final step is the first drive. You slide behind the wheel, and all you can smell is that new interior. You turn the key, and that rebuilt 318 rumbles to life through a full dual exhaust. You shift into drive, and the Charger just pulls onto the road. In the end, we didn't just restore a car. We resurrected a piece of American history. We took an icon that was inches away from turning back into dust, and we gave it a future. This 1969 Charger is more than just a car, it's proof that with enough passion and hard work, you can refuse to let a classic die. It's a reminder that even when something looks broken beyond repair, there's always hope. Thanks for joining us on this insane journey. If you loved watching this charger get reborn, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Let us know in the comments what classic car you think we should save next. Until then, keep the passion alive.